Yeah, we can start the session now.
All right. Where is Josh? Hold on.
Josh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Nene, my name is Wale here, so I don't know why it's changed to mine. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session of this cybersecurity bootcamp by Nexsecure. My name is Joshua. On the call, I have Nene with me, and I have Vivian also. That's the brain behind this bootcamp. So quickly, as we discussed yesterday, right? I gave like an assignment after the end of the session yesterday, and I hope the links to where you submit your assignment has already been given to you. Um, from today, I'll start looking at your responses. But remember also that we said that we're going to do like a brief discussion on the various answers that you were able to get from the questions I dropped yesterday. So for a start, right, from the assignment, I said you should go and learn about your rights as a data subject under the Nigeria Data Protection Act of 2023. And I would like to hear some responses from some of you. I think everyone that was on this call presently, that is on this call presently, were around yesterday. Although I'm seeing some new names, I don't think I know some of these new names, but nevertheless, let me see people that were here yesterday. Is okay. Cybernet, good afternoon. If you can hear me, I would like to get your response from yesterday's take-home assignment. What were you able to get from one of the data? Can you just tell us the data subject rights that you were able to research on and what you understand by it? The Cybernet here with us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. So I was asking a question around your response to the assignment of yesterday. I wanted to know what you found out about your data, your rights as a data subject. Can you just tell us one of the data subjects you learned, one of the data subject rights you learned about? Um, Franklin, can we get a response from you? Sorry, we'll have like about 10 to 15 minutes to do this. We have spent about 3 minutes. Franklin, were you able to get a response yesterday from the assignment
Um,
I gave
yeah,
to
good
you?
afternoon. Yes. I just did a little research about a couple of rights.
Okay.
As rights to be informed.
What do you understand by rights to be informed?
Is the right to know what your information, that is your data, is being used to do, why it is being used, who it is being shared with before the processing begins.
Okay. So with that, going forward, right? How do you, what lessons have you taken from that forward?
Mm, the lesson is basically that we all have rights, like the data we give during registration of um, whatever process, be it SIM registration or any registration concerning giving out your data, if it's maybe a bank registration or anything, that you have the rights to what they use your data to do. That's what I understood by it. And how to exercise your
Okay.
rights too.
Okay. Thank you for your response.
Oh,
Thank you very much for your response. Emmanuel
okay.
Chigozie, please can you answer what you learned about your right as a data subject?
Okay, good afternoon,
Good
Mr. Wale,
afternoon.
and good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so what it means, what my right as a data subject means is that what rights do I have or the rights I have when I'm giving out my data to a company, or when a company uses my data for their purpose. It talks about what rights I have. And if those rights are violated, it also tells me what to do if my rights have been violated, if I have complaints. And it also gives me advice or a guidelines that I should take if my rights have been violated. Yeah, that is, I think, what I understand.
Okay. So can you mention any of the rights?
Okay, so I have a right to withdraw consent.
Okay.
If I've given consent to an organization with that uses my data, I have the right to tell them, okay, I'm no longer interested. Can you just take the next step, which is like rights to be erased. They can also erase off all the rights, or sorry, rights to be erased. They can also erase off all the data concerning me that I have given to them.
Okay.
So I also have another one, which is rights to be informed. So I have the
Okay.
rights for them to inform me of whatsoever purpose my data are being carried out for. I
Okay.
also think
So
I have the
thank you
right
for your
to object.
response. Thank you for your response. So in your
Yeah,
rights to
thank
be
you.
in your rights to be informed, how many of you are familiar with privacy policies? How many of you are familiar with privacy policies? Okay, so I want you to always do something, right? Whenever you are to fill your information on any form online or on a website, or you are to undergo any registration, you should ensure you look out for things like a privacy policy. Right in that privacy policy, a normal privacy policy should outline your rights that you have, right? It should outline the rights that you have that are covered by under the Nigeria Data Protection Act. And another thing that you should also take note of is that the privacy policy should explain to you in simple language, in simple terms, what they are using your details that they are going to collect, what they are using your personal identifiable information, what they are going to use it to do. If you don't see it on a privacy policy, that should be like some sort of red flag to you, right? It should be like some sort of red flag. So again, you mentioned something about withdrawing consent. Again, some of these rights, funny enough, for in terms of, okay, you talked about erasing rights to erase your details, right? That can
Yes, I
only
did.
work in some cases, but not in all cases. So let me give you an example here. You can actually go to the bank and tell them, oh, I want to close down my account. I don't want to receive messages from you people. I don't want to receive any promotional emails from you again. I don't want your customer care numbers to reach out to me. I don't want to anything to do. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't want to transact money again. Give me my money. You can actually do that. But what you're not permitted to do is now telling the bank to erase you from their system, which is not possible because they have certain requirements or mandatory requirements from the CBN that says they cannot erase financial history of any customer that they've had, right? So you can tell them, oh, I don't want to have an account with you, close down the account. does not mean that your financial history also will be erased from that bank. Hope you are getting the flow. So even years from now, if you go back to a bank and you tell them, oh, if for example, why they do this, for example, is because of issues around fraud, issues around all this theft and things like that. So in case your account was involved maybe years back and the CBN wants to undergo investigation, they want to see accounts where money were deposited into, maybe where all those fraudulent funds were deposited into, right? They will ask the bank, oh yeah, can you pull out reports of so 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 and so customer? And the bank goes, oh, we don't have it. The customer closed his account and we deleted his details and his financial history. They can even get penalized for saying such. So there are some certain industries where you cannot outrightly um, use some of these rights. But if you go to maybe some of us that go to all these posh hair salons or barbing salons, and we go there and we tell them, oh, I want to get my hair, and then I'll say, oh, you need to register. We'll send you a link, do your registration. We want to just get to know you more so that from time to time we can tell you promos that we do offer in the salon. And you, after like a week, you see them calling you, they are sending you emails, they are sending you text messages. You can outrightly tell them, oh yeah, I don't want to do it again. Erase my name. I don't want to be contacted by you. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to have anything to do with you. There and then you can see that you can outrightly express that right. You tell them to erase any form of information they have of you, any financial history they have of you, you can tell them to erase. So those are the two different things that you could do in that aspect. But for some industries, you can't outrightly demonstrate the right of erasure. So that is by the side. This is around 4:15 already. So I would like to today we'll be looking at cybersecurity career paths. We'll be exploring some cybersecurity career paths. And on the call with me, I have Nene. So I would like to introduce Nene to you guys. Then we can begin the session. So Nene, can you? Okay, she's already sharing her screen. So
Okay.
Nene, you can begin, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Wale or Josh.
George.
My name is Amugo Grace Nene. Yeah, you can call me Sissy Nene, whichever one you prefer. I'm a cybersecurity professional with 2 years of experience in penetration testing. And I am this is actually my first class with Nexsecure Bootcamp, and I'm really excited to, you know, be holding your hands and answer your questions. Whatever we're going to do today, I'm just really excited to like do that with you guys. So today we are going to talk about the different cybersecurity career paths. And sorry, hold on. We're going to talk about the different cybersecurity career paths. So before I start, I want to also let you know that this class is going to be very interactive. I actually want it to be very interactive. I want to make sure that you understand what we are passing to you, you understand what we are communicating to you. And hold on. I want to make sure that you guys understand like every single thing we are saying. And if you have questions, raise up your hands. You can unmute yourself. You can ask questions. So before we start, when you hear cybersecurity, I need to know what comes into your mind. I'm very curious. Like I want to know what comes to your mind. Everybody actually. Sorry, where do I? Um, sorry. Josh, can you help me? I can't see my screen.
Okay, let me share on my end.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Let me stop
Let me share
sharing.
my screen on my end.
Okay. So why Josh is doing that? Dumebi, Chidera, Cybernet, Franklin, Ibrahim, Joy Favor, Lawrence King, Levi, Balogun. When you hear cybersecurity, what's that thing that comes to your mind? I really want everybody to answer. And it does not have to be a perfect answer. You don't have to answer like you have an experience. I just want to hear like what comes to your mind. I think everybody actually has to answer because this class is going to be very interactive. So who are we starting with? Chidera, I think you're the first on the list. When you hear cybersecurity, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay. My understanding of cybersecurity is protecting of data, people's details, protecting yourself from unauthorized access. That's just what I understand.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I think the next person is cyber needs. When you hear of cybersecurity, what comes to your mind? Please, can we try to be fast? We have a couple of things to share with you today. Cyber needs. Hey, if cyber needs is not unmuting, do maybe can you go next? Franklin, Ibrahim, Joy, Lawrence, Levi. Is the only Chidera that is on this call?
No, we are here now.
Okay, Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ibrahim, you can go after you, Joy. Introduce yourself and answer the question. Thank you. Hello, Ibrahim. Can you hear me? Sorry. Joy, please, can you unmute?
Okay, good
I don't know. The class is
afternoon.
not lively. What's going on? What's going on? The class is not lively. What's going on?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Joy.
Okay, so my knowledge, what I know about cybersecurity is that it's the act of keeping your digital life out of reach for hackers and people that are not supposed to have access to it.
Protecting your digital life from hackers. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. That's actually a very beautiful answer. Who is going next? If nobody is going next, I think I'll just start. I don't know why we are not responsive today.
Hello, everyone.
Who is
It's
going next?
Franklin here.
Okay, yeah, Franklin, you can
So, when I
continue.
hear of cybersecurity, basically what comes to my mind is keeping the internet space safe, like total management of the internet space, keeping it safe from attackers and threats, basically. Thank you.
Okay, that's actually very beautiful. So, okay, that's actually very beautiful. Thank you so much, Chidera, Favor, Franklin. So, cybersecurity, right, is not a one man's job. A lot of us think cybersecurity is all about where hackers hack into people's systems to do whatever it is they want to do. No, so many there are like so many parts. Who is unmuted? Sorry,
Let me try
your
and mute
background.
the person.
Okay. So when you hear cybersecurity, right, it's not
Okay, I think you
just
can
one
continue now.
domain. It's okay. All right, thank you. Cybersecurity does not just include one domain. It does not include just one skill. There are like so many skills that make up cybersecurity. And that's like what I and Josh are going to be breaking down today. And then another thing you should know with cybersecurity is that you don't need to be a genius or you don't need to know how to code to choose any of these career paths. That is like something you should have at the back of your mind. But if you have that skill, it's an added advantage. So by the end of this class, you're going to know where you fit. You're going to know which path excites you. And then you're going to know your first real step into cybersecurity. That is after learning the whole cybersecurity basics. You will now know like the paths to dive into. So, sorry, Josh, can you go to the next slide? Why cybersecurity? Where is Josh?
Okay.
Please, can you go to the next slide?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've on it. Okay.
All right. So, um, there are like, okay, there's something I want you guys to know. There are like millions of cybersecurity or field rules. There are millions of cybersecurity or field rules. In as much as many of us might think, oh, cybersecurity is saturated, plenty people are doing cybersecurity and whatnot, I want to assure you that there are still millions of unfilled roles. So if you're just starting out, if you're still a beginner, don't worry. Just be disciplined, be diligent in learning, and there's a job for you out there. And then, sorry, hold on. Sorry, Josh, can I go to the next slide? Let's start with stock analyst role. Josh, thank you.
I'm on the next slide
So,
now.
okay, thank you so much. So we'll be starting with the stock analyst role. First of all, who are the SOC analysts? And I would like to use action movies, right? I like to bring it home. So when you're watching action movies, all these American movies, whichever country, there are guys that you see that are usually in front of screens, and then they get calls from their managers, and they're like, track down this person, do this one, an attack is about to happen, do this one, do that one. Those guys in the cybersecurity world, they are the SOC analysts. Now, these SOC analysts are those guys that sit in front of systems to, sorry, hold on. Sorry, I got a call. These guys, these SOC analysts, they're those guys that like sit in front of systems to, they get alerts basically. You understand what alerts are later. They get alerts, they monitor systems to like know when an attack is about to happen. They have their defense system ready to like defend attacks that are about to like penetrate into organizations and systems. And then for you to choose this role, um you have to be someone that likes repeating work, because basically these guys all they do is like repeating work. They sit down one place, they monitor systems like morning, afternoon, night. They're like monitoring systems, and it's actually very boring, right? They monitor, track to know like when an attack is about to like come into the organization, and then um sorry, to know when an attack is about to like come into the organization, and then to shift it to the required authorities to do the right thing. So for you to choose this particular role, you should love repetition. You should love what's the other word? You should know how attacks actually look like in real life. You should know how businesses respond to threats. You should also know how to think under pressure. Because as you're sitting down there, attacks happen like every time. The hackers are like on the on the fly. I don't know if I should use that word. They are on the fly. And then they are always like, building their tools, building whatever it is they're building. And then you as a SOC analyst, you're the defender basically in cybersecurity. You have to stay on your system and monitor to know when these guys are like pulling their tricks or whatever. So you should learn how to think under pressure. If an attack occurs in the organization, instead of you to start panicking or and then forget the first step that you're supposed to do, the first step that you're supposed to like carry out when an attack occurs and whatnot, you start panicking and whatnot. Um, that's like not a real skill of a SOC analyst. You're supposed to like have patience. You're supposed to think under pressure So that's that about being a SOC analyst. George,
Okay.
do you have anything to add there?
Okay. So additionally, right? So let me paint a picture of what they normally do. So I know some of us have watched movies where we see a group of people just sitting down in a large room with a big screen TV. They see what is happening or things like that. So that's basically what a SOC operations room is all about. There's a big screen, right? So most of the times, what are they doing? They tend to monitor the network, for example, within of the organization, especially those organizations that work in sensitive industries, maybe financial industries or your banks, for example. I've been privileged to see the inside of a SOC room of a commercial bank in this country. And basically, right, they work in shifts. So if you are somebody um that can sit down for long hours, right? This is the kind of work that you could do. Again, they have to be at alert. That's why they run in shifts because they cannot just leave things to chance. So basically, one person, they are a group of people, right? Maybe 10 or depends on how large the organization is. So basically, right, they sit on their systems and monitor whatever solutions that help them to know what kind of attack is currently happening on their networks. So, for example, there is a large screen that normally does some sort of aggregation for them. It counts how many maybe threat actors that were trying to gain access into their networks. That's when you understand the gravity of how these cyber attackers are always trying per second per minute in getting access to so many institutions within the country, especially those in the financial sector. Then if you have opportunity to see all those big boards, right, it's always counting, right? You see life of how, oh, this person from another country, maybe one Eastern Europe country like that, Azerbaijan, there's a hacker there that is trying to access a commercial bank's network in Nigeria just to get out. Because again, once you have access to the network, you can move laterally, you can go into systems, you can see sensitive documents. So those are the things that these SOC analysts tend to prevent. So if peradventure a phishing mail comes to, for example, a phishing mail comes to a worker in the organization, right? And obviously, we know what kind of damage a phishing mail can do, right? If the person clicks it within the neck, maybe one of the staff within the organization clicks the phishing mail and thinks, oh, maybe he wants to win free iPhone 13. Once the SOC analyst has seen that a the other IP or the MAC address has been compromised. That is the person who clicks the phishing mail. What do they do? They isolate this person. What do they do by isolating the person? They practically blacklist that IP and take it out of the network. And they now look for ways to at least treat whatever issues have been raised during that period of attack. So not only do they treat sometimes, not only do they monitor sometimes, they also tend to respond to incidences. So they isolate the IP, this person clicked the phishing link, they try to isolate the system, they do what they need to do to bring this, and when there's a clean bill of health assigned to that system, they bring it back into they introduce that IP back to the network, right? And what else do they do again? They go further by documenting these things. So they don't just leave, they don't just, I for example, these incidents that happen now, they tend to have like some sort of incident book that they document some of these things that happened. How did they go about it? Sometimes it's what now produces to become a playbook, right? So that people that might come after in that role can understand, oh, if this situation happens, this is how I should go about it. Okay, Nene, over to you. I think I'm done with that.
Yeah, thank you so much. You did justice to that. So the next one is
Hello?
next screen.
Yeah, okay.
The next screen. So the next one is the digital
Okay,
forensics.
Nene, we have a
Yeah.
question, please. I think we have a question.
Okay, sure.
Chidera,
Okay, Chidera, you can go on.
Okay, Chidera, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Concerning this SOC analyst career, during the intro, the first webinar we had, I think it was Vivian that was saying something about each of us having an idea concerning coding. So I want to ask, as a SOC analyst, do you code? Like in all those things you've explained now, does it concern coding, HTML, Python, all those things? That's my
Sorry, I didn't.
question.
Okay,
Okay, I
but
didn't
it's
hear
an
you.
added
Should I repeat my
advantage.
question?
Okay, so her question is, sorry, Chidera, I don't.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, so Josh is asking if, as a SOC analyst, if you're expected to have like coding skills. It's a yes and no answer. So yes, in the sense that it helps you. A SOC analyst with a coding skill is much better than a SOC analyst without the coding skills. Josh, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's fine. So
Okay.
it's exactly the way you say.
Okay. All right. So the next career path in cybersecurity, these are like the digital forensics guys. They are the cyber detectives. From the name detective, you should already like have an idea about what we're about to talk about. So I'll bring it back to the action movie so that you guys can like picture it better. So you know when let's say there's a murder case, or let's say a murder happened somewhere, and those FBI guys or those police guys, they're like checking the scene, trying to see, okay, trying to check the blood on the floor or the blood on the car or the fingerprints or whatever, or go through the phone of the person that was murdered, that's the victim or whatever. They're like trying to like connect different dots to try to find who was involved in that attack. That is the same thing the digital forensics guys and cybersecurity do. So when an attack happens, right, these guys investigate the incident. Now, the incident is the attack that has occurred. They investigate the incident meticulously, collecting and analyzing digital evidence. Now, okay, meticulously and then collecting and analyzing digital evidences. That's everything. Okay, for example, now, like Josh was saying about the SOC analyst guys. So let's say an attack has occurred. First of all, you have to isolate it to prevent it from spreading to other systems or devices in that network. Now, when you isolate it, you take it to these digital forensics guys to investigate, to look at it, to know, okay, who are the attackers? Who are those behind this attack? What was their intention? And what was the which method of attack did they use to carry out this attack? All these things like help them to build more defense system to prevent future occurrences of that same kind of attack. Now, secondly, they provide crucial support for legal cases and help organizations recover swiftly from breaches. Like it's the same thing. So when these breaches occur, right, these organizations usually like face legal I don't know the right word to use, but when these things happen, first of all, let's say the user information in their system was exposed. It's it's a crime, right? And this organization has to either pay a fine, lose their license to operate, and so many other things like have bad name literally, because you don't want to like do business with anybody that you hear often has cyber attacks. You want to be on the safe path. So there are a lot of legal things that like occur. I can't remember the right word to use, but you know what legal is, right? So now is this legal guys, they work hand in hand with the digital forensics guys to like discover, okay, what kind of attack happened, who are the attackers behind it, were they able to resolve were they able to like find the attackers, their method of attacking, why they were attacking, like so many things to find out. There are literally so many things to find out. It's the digital forensics guys that do it, and they work hand in hand with the legal guys to help this organization that was affected to, recover from the attack that occurred. Then, as a digital forensics person in cybersecurity, you need like so many skills. You need to have a malware analysis skill. You need to know how to use like different forensic tools. You need strict adherence to no, please that. So first of all, I have to let you know that as a digital forensics person, you have to be very patient. It's patience over it's accuracy over doing a fast job. Nobody wants you to do a fast job in the sense that, okay, let's say now in those action movies that we watch, those police guys, they don't, or those FBI guys, they don't try to like solve the crime like very fast. They're not after anything, they're not rushing anywhere. You have to calm down. You need patience, right? To be able to calm down, investigate different evidences that you found, calm down, pinpoint, like if you don't have patience, you'll not be able to like find these things. You have to calm down, be meticulous about it. The final work they need from these guys is accuracy because you need to find the attackers behind whatever breach that happened and whatnot. And if you're fast, if you're trying to do a fast job here, you will not achieve that. You'll not achieve a good job. And if you don't achieve a good job, these guys will, the attackers will like still be out there planning whatever it is they want to plan. They still have their methods. And if you don't like calm down to discover the type of method they use, you'll not be able to plan defenses for future occurrences like this. Then the next one is growing demand. Yeah, like I said, there's still like very much growing demand for that skill. Josh, do you have anything to add to that before we move to the next one? And then are there questions? Do you have any questions? Do you want to better understand anything I said?
Okay. So, for your digital forensics, I think you have covered most of what they do. Again, you have to have a key an eye for detail. You also have to read extensively because again, in as much as you are doing a digital forensics, you are being employed as a digital forensics personnel or professional, you have to read a lot because there are certain methods, there are certain ways whereby all these hackers they have their own ways of um carrying out their attacks, whether be it on your network or your applications or your system. So again, you have to know what is the latest trend in and how all these threat groups or threat actors normally carry out their various operations. So once you see an attack, you can know, oh, this is from so and so threat group. This is how they move. This is how they do. So I think that's that about that. So our next one is our governance, risk, and compliance analyst or consultant. So again, this is a very, very underlooked area of cybersecurity. So most of the time, people just tend to know, oh, I'm a hacker. Oh, I know how to handle solutions like your anti-malware, your firewalls, and things like that. But we have the people who are like policy enforcers. They're in charge of policies that relate to information security. They, again, GRC analysts are like policy enforcers. So yesterday I think I spoke about governance, what governance is about, what risk is about, what compliance is about. So um it's a threefold career, right? So in some cases, right, you can see some job descriptions only asking for IT governance or IT governance personnel. You can see some places they're asking for risk personnel. You can see some places they're asking for only compliance managers. But again, someone who is now a governance risk and compliance can switch between these three places, right? You can switch between these three places. Inside governance risk and compliance, there are a lot of careers embedded into it. This is just a generic um, let's say, a general career name for it, right? But inside all these three words, right, there are various careers that are hidden into it. We have your data protection officers, you have your privacy managers, you have your IT auditors. So there are people who have switched from one field to another within this area of cybersecurity, right? So most of the things around governance, risk, and compliance, first of all, you must know how to develop policies and procedures. You must know how to develop policies and procedural documents. You must learn how to carry out your risk assessments. Again, you must be very good with communication because at the end of the day, these are the guys that speak to top management. You will not find, it's very rare you find a SOC analyst or you find a a penetration tester being pushed to go and present reports to executives or top management of an organization. It's the GRC people that are mostly in the forefront of showing reports of how certain attacks were carried out or showing numbers of reports or of various things that happened as concerning information security within the organization. Again, inside this also, they also tend to give reports about compliance rates in the organization, things around information security awareness trainings, how many people attended, how many people are defaulting, what are the ways, do we have penalties for them? So it basically looks at people, right? It basically looks at your people. GRC basically looks at your processes. It also looks at your technology. So if someone says, oh, GRC people are not technically inclined, right? That's a lie. Again, you must know how technology operates. You must know how technology works before you can even say, oh, you're a GRC analyst. For example, someone, if they, for example, you go for maybe a compliance check, right? You want to see, oh, this penetration testing, this pen test guys, right? The vulnerabilities that they've discovered. What are the timelines? This is where processes come into place. What are our policies coming into place? There must be a policy that speaks to vulnerability management in an organization. So if the penetration tester says that, oh, these are the vulnerabilities that were discovered when we wanted to take out a test on our network, these were the vulnerabilities that we discovered. And vulnerabilities, if you are familiar with them, they have rankings. There are some that are more severe than the others. The more severe ones, what are the timelines for remediating those vulnerabilities? This is where your GRC compliance analyst or GRC analyst come into play because you already have a policy that helps you that talks about vulnerability management policy. It tells you, oh, for more severe vulnerabilities, this is the timeline because we don't want to leave things to chance. The more you leave severe vulnerabilities, the more exposed the organization is to attacks. So you must have timelines for some of these vulnerabilities that were discovered by maybe your in-house ethical hacker or your penetration tester. So this is where GRS and they ensure that people that work within cybersecurity or within information security adhere to some of these policies. They follow the right processes. There's proper change management within the organization and things like that. So I don't want to go too much into this. Certifications include CISA, CISSP, but this is after you have gained at least the basic foundational knowledge about what GRC work is all about. Any questions, please?
Okay, I also like to add that if you're like trying to remember what GRC is to cybersecurity, you can use, if you're a Nigerian, right? You know NAFDAC. You know how NAFDAC creates food rules, food laws for food processing companies and even drug processing companies, how they should how they like have standards for different things to be done. And if those things are not like done accurately, they penalize those companies. So this that's like how GRC analysts are to cybersecurity guys. They make these policies and ensure that companies, organizations, stick to it in order to ensure that everybody is safe out there, cyber safe out there. And then another thing to add is if you are specifically running away from coding, you don't want to code at all as a in cybersecurity, then this is like the perfect place for you. If you love writing, if you love reading a lot, then this is the perfect place for you. And like Josh already mentioned, if you like communicating. Now, communicating is not just about talking, right? Communication is about breaking down big words into into a certain way people will understand, depending on there are like different people in cybersecurity, either the security guys, the stakeholders. The way you communicate to a security guy, a developer, is not the way you communicate to a stakeholder in cybersecurity when you're trying to like communicate the vulnerability that was found and the impact. So you have to learn very well how to communicate, how to make sure they understand, because it's when they understand that they'll be able to give you the go ahead to mitigate this risk and prevent like the attack from like going worse than it already is. So Josh, you can take the next one. Thank you.
Additionally, I wanted to add this. So for people that work in maybe auditing firms, we have seen cases whereby people that were just financial auditors or accountants, right? There was a smooth career switch into GRC in one of the um careers in GRC. They could switch easily to being information systems auditor. So imagine someone going from being a financial auditor to being an information systems auditor, which is still covered under GRC. So for people that read law also, this is a very good career switch for them because again, most of what we deal in GRC, when we are talking about compliance, compliance also has to do with laws. There are laid down laws, maybe by the country, maybe by some particular financial regulatory
Enforcement
industry,
agents.
yeah, maybe by enforcement agencies, maybe by regulatory um, bodies. So some of these things are laws. You hear me mentioning the Nigeria Data Protection Act. It is a law. It is a law that was signed into the constitution, right? So it's one of the laws that govern data protection in Nigeria. So that thing is basically a law. So that's why you can say you have rights. You have rights to do so and so to your data. You have right to ensure that your data is properly handled. So all these things are law. So someone that is a lawyer can also have some sort of smooth career switch to things like this. Somebody that worked in audit, somebody that worked in risk. Also, these are the kind of careers that they normally venture into once they want to leave the commerce part or the financial aspect of it. So the next one is security engineer. Okay, so security engineer and cloud security specialist. So before the advent of clouds, basically we just had security engineers. What do they normally do? So let me just explain what security engineers do and the security engineers, what did they do? So we normally, right, we have our IT infrastructure. So before time, right, we had IT infrastructure whereby we just had solely IT guys. They did both infrastructure management. They also had to deal with maybe any information security solutions. They were also the one that managed it. But after when the need for um, like a brief separation between IT and information security. So there was now a distinct separation between IT and information security. Although in some organizations we still have the IT people still playing the same role as information security. Why am I telling you this? Information security engineers, right? They are the ones that deal with all those solutions that you know about, from your anti-malwares to your firewalls to your servers, all those IT infrastructure, they are the ones that tend to protect those infrastructure. So they know how to set your anti-malware solutions, they know how to set your servers, they know which port should be on and off on your firewalls. They know how to implement certain configurations for certain technologies or solutions that have been that need to be implemented within the solution. So basically, they are just like your security guards. They know what should be in the right place. They know how to set up your firewall in terms of protecting your networks, right? They are the ones that basically know which port you should off, which port should be on, and if there are ports that are on, how do they tend to protect those ports, right? So they are in charge of design, implementing, and maintaining secure systems. So from information security engineers, we now have cloud, right? We have cloud. So instead of having your IT infrastructure on-prem, we have your IT infrastructure being managed by the cloud service provider. Well, if it's managed by the cloud service provider, it doesn't necessarily mean you leave 100%, you leave the responsibility 100% to the cloud service provider. So that is now what brought about cloud security specialists. So all those people, the same way they work on-prem or on the IT infrastructure that is on-prem, is the same way that they've transitioned now. There was like a smooth transition from on-prem to your cloud server. So for your cloud environment, these are the people that also tend to design secure systems around your cloud environments. So your cloud environments such as AWS, Azure, your Google Cloud, all these um, environments, we have cloud specialists that tend to know what to do to make those environments more secure. In as much as the cloud service provider also has a responsibility, you also should play a role in securing of those environments. Key skills that you need to know secure coding, you need to know about infrastructure as a code, that is talking to your cloud, you need to know your cloud architecture and some little idea about automation expertise. So, any questions, please? So these guys are more like the defenders of your organization's IT infrastructure or cloud environments. Any questions, please? Okay, so then I really like to continue.
No, continue. I'll add to it. Just continue. I'll add to it.
Okay, so next up we have our threat intelligence experts. So before time I think we explained about was it Nene? I think she spoke about how the digital forensics guy, they investigate security incidents, information security incidents after after they had happened, right? They tend to do some analysis, they carry out investigations, they want to know findings, they want to know which threat actors or threat groups carried out by that carried out those attacks. So we have what we call the threat intelligence experts. So these guys basically, right, they analyze how attackers work, right? They try to know their techniques, they try to know their procedures. So they are in cybersecurity, there are groups, they are threat groups, I mean threat actor groups. That's what they call them. We have your Lazarus group. These people are basically from North Korea. So North Korea has a group of hackers, quote and unquote, that they employ to go out and steal through Bitcoin. Maybe they steal Bitcoin, they steal all these digital assets that you can translate into fiat or money. So all those threat groups, right? These threat intelligence experts, they tend to know how they work, what is the path and way they normally take to perform an attack, right? So they read a lot, they carry out extensive research, they tend to predict how future attacks may happen, right? So these guys also work hand in hand with digital forensics, right? They work hand in hand with digital forensics. So threat intelligence experts, for this kind of job role, you can say it's a niche cybersecurity job role. It's a niche cybersecurity job role in as much as we rarely hear people who are threat intelligence experts. So some of them are just freelance. They don't basically work for organizations. But you can find one or two organizations having employed a threat intelligence expert. Any questions, please?
Sorry, if there's no question, at least what did you guys understand from this particular one he
So
said?
far, right? Let's also so far, right? Let me see. When you call Solar or Lawrence King, are you here with us? So far, right? From the various career paths, which one do you feel um more attached to? I just want to know your opinion. After Lawrence King answers, I want to hear from Catch Dollar.
Okay, good afternoon.
Okay,
I'm
Lawrence King, go on.
okay, so I think I'm into the SOC analyst um part of cybersecurity.
Okay, Catch Dollar, Catch Dollar, Levi, Levi here with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, so please, what from all these cybersecurity job paths, which one do you feel most drawn to?
I said the security engineer and cloud security.
Okay, any reason why?
Yeah. I feel like it's more broad and it opens
Any
or
reason?
gives you rooms for more opportunities. Unlike some that I feel like it's more limited to some extent, but with cloud you are open to more opportunities.
Okay, Cybernet. No, is it Cybernet? I saw your hands up. Can you go? Can you ask your questions?
Okay, so my whole question is, when we talk about stock analysis, it's just like we are doing something like
Sorry,
acting.
you're mumbling a little bit. I can't. You're not clear.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is better.
Okay, so I was saying, when you talk about stock analyst, right? Sometimes it has
Yes,
to do with the let's say proactive,
go
why
on.
digital forensic analyst they investigate, right? So now we will not talk about this threat intelligence expert. Should we say they are still doing something similar to SOC analysts, or they are under SOC analysts?
No, 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 no. So, threat intelligence experts, they don't. What they do, they don't read. They don't monitor. The SOC analyst is to monitor networks, right? The threat intelligence expert does not monitor. What they do is that they carry out their own independent research. They get reports from, although there are websites where you can get some of these reports, right? Where you can just look at how various threat groups from various countries, how they operate, what is their motive. This is what threat intelligence experts are all about. So at the end of the day, they tend to predict how some of these um, threat groups will attack organizations, right? They tend to predict how some of these threat groups will attack organizations. So theirs is just to carry out extensive research. Your SOC analyst is just to monitor. Your threat intelligence expert is to research. They don't do any monitoring on any solution. You get?
Okay. So
Okay.
when this threat intelligence expert, right, they carry out their own investigation or they hunt for new threats. So who do they report to, or
So
what do they do
digital
with it?
forensics is to carry out investigation. Please, let's not mix them apart. Let's not mix them. So threat intelligence, right? Their own is just to carry out research on how various threat groups might attack. What are their tactics? What are their techniques? What are their procedures? Do some of them they operate through social engineering. Some of these threat groups operate through phishing links. some of these threat groups, um, they operate, your business email compromise, all those kind of things like that. So these are what they are looking at, right? They are looking at all of these threat groups. How do they tend to operate? How do they tend to operate? Your digital forensics is just to investigate security incidents that have happened. Your threat intelligence expert is, in as much as they are going to do some sort of research, their own is not to investigate. Your digital forensics is to investigate security incidents that have occurred within an organization. Your threat intelligence, their own is just to try to predict, right? Their own is just to try to predict. And how do they predict? They go on extensive research. They look at they go some of these guys go to even the dark web, right? Because on the dark web you can see how some of these threat groups communicate. You can see what kind of data is even leaked on the dark web and by which threat group or which people or from which threat group are actually the ones selling some certain data on the dark web. So what that is what the threat intelligence expert does. Hello, Cybernet.
Yes.
Could you get the difference
Uh,
between a data? Did you get the difference
yes,
between a
I.
digital forensics and the threat intelligence experts? So at the end of the day, right, once they get this information, right, once they get all this information, some of them go as far as sharing it with organizations. That's why organizations are encouraged to be on some of these forums where threat intelligence reports are being shared. So these threat intelligence experts, they produce reports that some of these organizations utilize. And these threat intelligence experts will now suggest ways on how to prevent some of these attacks that they have predicted in their reports. They suggest to organizations how to prevent them. What are the steps they should take in preventing some of these attacks that they've actually researched on?
Okay.
Yes. So they have
So
reports.
that
That's why,
means
okay, go on.
so that means it is ethical when a threat intelligence expert discover something like a new phishing method.
Yes.
It
And go
is
on.
ideal for them to inform the SOC analyst so that they will stay active since they are monitoring logins and
So that the what?
networks. I said since SOC analysts are monitoring logins, monitoring networks, you understand? So that means it is very, very important for the threat intelligence experts to warn them, like to give them updates that okay, we just discovered this new phishing method so that they will stay active. Or what do you
Yes.
think?
Yes. So you know that cybersecurity is not just an isolated work. Everybody works hand in hand, from the GRC analyst till, in fact, let me even tell you how these GRC analysts come into some controls. There are some security controls that GRC analysts are saying, oh, this maybe you're implementing a framework, right? And in that framework, they are telling you that these are some controls that some certain organizations should have. The GRC analyst now says, oh, in this framework, it is expected of an organization to at least have threat intelligence sources, right? So what do you mean by telling an organization to have threat intelligence sources? You must have a place or a library of where you get information on how future attacks might occur within your environment, especially within maybe your financial institution or within the healthcare sector, because attacks can come in any way. In your healthcare sectors, you know that there are some machines or there are some machines that they use um, that are actually um, on the that are actually operated. How do I call it now? They are Internet of Things, right? Some of these machines are Internet of Things devices. So you can imagine a a threat group their own is just to ensure that they do some sort of targeted attacks to some very important people who will make use of these machines, right? You can, I think somebody is not muted. So what is the work of this threat intelligence expert? He will now go ahead and produce a report and say, oh, people who use so and so devices from so and so vendor, this machine is vulnerable to so and so attack because this is the way threat actors or the hackers tend to come into some of these devices because they are online. Maybe they are exposed to the public internet, right? Some of these devices, they don't even have certain controls to reduce attacks, right? So you can say your threat intelligence expert is not telling you that, oh, these threat actors or this threat group, this is the way they will come through in terms of attack. Their own is just to focus on healthcare devices, especially the ones that are on the internet. On the internet, I mean on that are basically run online, right? So this is what the threat intelligence expert, they just try to produce reports and warn you ahead of pending attacks that might happen in the nearest future and how those attacks may come to either the organization or the business. So do you get it? Your digital forensics is just to do investigation after a security incident has happened or after that particular incident has occurred. Your SOC analyst is just to monitor to ensure that some of these um, attacks don't happen, right? So that's just to be on the lookout. So please let's know the actual difference. So I think we have 3 questions in the chat. Okay, so somebody says, Joy says, for me, I think the role that does a lot of analysis and communicate is what I would like to venture in. I have a background in communication and marketing, so I suspect she's talking about GRC. Lawrence King says he has a question. Lawrence King, do you still have your question?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So you're talking about threat intelligence expert and SOC analyst.
I can't hear you again.
Yeah, you were talking about threat intelligence expert and SOC analyst. So I was wondering, SOC analyst, you said their role is to monitor the system, but I feel like some SOC analysts they have more advanced role than monitoring system because I believe there's a
Yeah, were you
junior.
here at the beginning of the class?
Yeah, I was here at the beginning of the class.
Okay, so you heard when I mentioned that they also do some sort of incident response, where I talked about the phishing email, whereby they could identify this computer was infected because maybe the owner of the computer clicked a phishing email, where they have to isolate that particular IP. So did they just monitor? No, they also responded to that incident by isolating that IP away from the network. So the SOC analysts are also some sort of incident responders within the scope of their work.
Okay. Okay. Now
Is that
I was about to ask another. I was about to ask something else. I was
okay?
trying to know if there's a level of SOC analyst that does threat intelligence.
Yeah, so you know that your SOC analysts, they are divided into level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay. So again, let's do an assignment, right? Thank you for bringing that up. Let's do an assignment. Um, Additional to what we have before, or what we are going to be doing also. So maybe we should go and look at what a SOC analyst level 1 does, a SOC analyst level 2 does, a SOC analyst level 3 does. In this answer that I've already said earlier, SOC analyst 1 already is somebody that monitors. Then SOC analyst 2 is somebody that responds, right? That does the response. Then SOC analyst 3, go and know what a SOC analyst 3 or level 3 person does. Please, let's know this, please. So that's where your SOC analyst level 1, 2, and 3 comes into play with this question that you have asked. So from my response, you should know what a SOC analyst level 1 does, a SOC analyst level 2 does, a SOC analyst level 3 does.
All right.
Is
All
that
right.
fine? Okay.
Thank you.
Nene, please also you can take over
All
from here.
right. All right, the penetration testers. All right, thank you so much. So the penetration testers, right? They are security professionals that are hired to simulate real world attacks against systems. So when I say simulate, I mean emulate, I mean copy. They're like real world attacks that are out there. So they copy these real world attacks and test them against systems to know if these systems are vulnerable to such attacks before, writing the reports and writing real world remediation for fixing these, vulnerabilities. Now, they test these reward attacks against systems, against applications, against networks in order to, identify weaknesses and help organizations to fix them. Now, there are like two different sometimes people say ethical hackers, sometimes people say penetration testers, but they don't really like do the same thing per se, but they are like almost very similar. So the ethical hackers, they focus on breaking systems, while penetration testers, they focus on, what this business risk are once you break in. So, like every vulnerability, right? Once there's like a vulnerability identified in the system, there's always a business risk that it has to a particular system and the impact it has to a particular system. So is this penetration testers that like, emulate reward attacks to find out what this vulnerability, like the risk they have on the systems or the application or the network. Then another thing you should know is that they have like different they as a penetration tester, they're like different things they do. First of all, there's a scope and rule of engagement. So before you even start like the penetration test engagement, you have to know what you are allowed to do. You cannot just There are some systems that you cannot carry out a brute force attack on. There are systems that you cannot just do like just anything you feel like you want to do. So before you carry out a penetration test on the system, first of all, I also want to like clarify that there are hackers. We hear of hackers. They're the bad guys, they're the real bad guys out there. And then there is the ethical or the penetration testers. Now these ones operate under permission. Those bad hackers,
White
those
hat.
black hat or bad, yeah, but no,
Uh-huh.
black hat hackers, they don't need your permission. They just do their thing as they want to do to ruin things, to break things. But then the penetration testers, they do the same thing that those hackers do, but with permission. And then their intention of doing this is actually to figure out the vulnerabilities in these systems and immediately recommend fix for these vulnerabilities so that those bad guys will not be able to catch up and find that vulnerability because they always used to do their own fire. I don't know how to explain it, but like their own intention, they're like Satan. They came to kill, steal, and destroy literally in the cyber world. So as a penetration tester, you have to start with the scope, the organization that you're carrying out the pen test will give you a scope. And in that scope, it involves what you are allowed to do, what you are not allowed to do, and then what success looks like for them. Then, of course, after getting your scope of engagement or your rule of engagement, you have to carry out a reconnaissance. We're going to go into details of that. We're going to go into details later in our next class. So in reconnaissance is like finding out information. There's usually an active reconnaissance and a passive reconnaissance. So passive reconnaissance is like um finding out information about, let's say I want to find out information about Josh. I'll go to his social media page to find out where he lives, find out his likes and dislikes, find out different things. I can even find his secrets through the things he posts and everything. That's like passive recon. Then for the active recon is using a tool or using tools. One of them is like mmap, trying to like find out information actually using those tools. And then the difference is that with the passive, you will not be detected, but with the active, if the SOC guys are like monitoring activities. They'll be able to track and know, oh, somebody is trying to do something or find out something from their system. So that aside, it will be treated extensively in the next classes. After the recon is the vulnerability discovery. Of course, with the information that you've gathered, you can be able to tell, oh, this vulnerability exists in this system. And then after that, you try to exploit it to prove the impact it has on that system. It will be discussed in details in the next class, but I think I can explain some. So what I mean by impact is, for example, now let's say I'm able to steal Josh's, and I'm going to use like something you will be able to understand for now. Let's say I'm able to steal Josh's phone password, and then or his bank password basically, and I'm able to log in. You can see that I'm able to also steal his money, see his transfer histories, do whatever it is I want to do, or as in whatnot. So that's like the impact of my action to Josh. Do you understand? I don't know if you understand, but you understand later. So that's like the impact of my actions to Josh. So they exploit this vulnerability. So my ability to find Josh's password, bank password, in order to log into his bank app, it means that there's a vulnerability in that bank app. So proving the impact of that vulnerability is my ability to like log in and then transfer out his funds and whatnot. You understand better later. Then after exploitation, there's post exploitation, that is demonstrating this vulnerability in real world risk, and then reporting. So after testing, finding out the vulnerabilities, proving the impact, testing, also demonstrating it in real world risk, you have to document it. You have to write it. And then one thing you should know as a pen tester is that you should know how to write a report clearly. Writing a report, fair and fine, is good, but if, for example, let's say I'm not a pen tester, or let's say Josh is not a pen tester and I'm the pen tester, and I say, oh, I found so so and so and so in your system, or this, that, I was able to withdraw money, yada, yada, yada. And I did not explain it in such a way, I did not bring it down in such a way that Josh will understand. Josh will not even understand what I'm saying, right? He'll just be listening. He will not be able to identify the impact. He will not be able to like, see the impact of that vulnerability. And if a high impact vulnerability is not remediated immediately, it's danger. Do you understand? So your ability to communicate clearly helps the stakeholders or helps the security guys or the guys that will be fixing the system understand which one they should treat first. And if you don't communicate clearly, if you don't communicate your findings clearly with evidences, they'll not be able to understand, and the mitigations will not be able to like be carried out immediately. And your whole point of testing that system is a waste, because if they're not able to fix the vulnerability you found, it's a waste. You just wasted your time playing around, playing games with that system. And then you should be able to, for you to be a penetration tester, you should be able to know how a system works, basically, because it's for you. If you know how a system works, you'll be able to know, oh, this vulnerability I'm seeing, or this other thing I'm seeing aside the normal thing that's supposed to be, is not what it's supposed to be. So you'll now be able to clearly also write remediation. For example, you can say, okay, for the password one now, maybe for example, just use his date of birth, and his date of birth is very guessable. So for the password one, let me bring it to the one, let me bring it down to what you can understand. For the password, instead of using your date of birth or short number of characters, right? You are advised to use like very long length of characters. For example, instead of using 6, you're advised to use from 12 and above or 8 and above. The longer the better, actually. Does not mean you'll not be able to be hacked. It just means that it will take longer time for those malicious attackers to be able to gain access to your system. And then there's something else, there's another remediation. Passwords are supposed to be changed in certain times. Some people prefer changing their passwords like monthly. Some people prefer changing their passwords quarterly, depending on whichever system or organization you're working with. So if you set that password to be long, before those attackers will be able to like gain access to that system, you've changed it. You're making work very hard for them. So that's that. I think I'm already deviating. So that's that for penetration tester. So the skills you need to be a penetration tester, you need patience. Sometimes you will not just find that vulnerability immediately. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it takes weeks. You need patience. Then you need discipline to keep going, to keep reading, to keep training yourself. Like Vivian will always say, learn every day. As a cybersecurity professional, even if you have 10 years experience, just keep learning. Just have that discipline to keep learning. Because as you keep learning, you keep understanding the different ways that attackers um manufacturing to like exploit vulnerabilities or exploit systems or whatever. Then ethics. As a penetration tester, you must operate ethically. Now, what do I mean by ethically? You need permission. And whatever findings you find, it's supposed to be a secret, literally. Like your neighbor should not know what you found in this system. That's why usually in fact it's part of like the scope. I think you sign like a non-disclosure agreement. Like if any other person should find out about this, you can be sued or you pay a fine or whatever, but you'll be punished. So you have to like operate ethically. You need permission before you test anybody's system. Even if you're doing it for a good purpose or a good cause, you need permission because if you operate unethically, if you operate without permission, they will arrest you and you'll go to jail. So that's that for ethics. For communication, you need to clearly know how to communicate. And, communication does not only mean when you're speaking to somebody verbally. When you're writing a report, the ability of someone else reading your report and understanding is clear communication. So as a penetration tester, you need to have that communication skills to be able to write reports in such a way that the stakeholders or the security guys would read and understand and be able to identify the impact, the risky ones, the high, low, medium, um, risky ones, to be able to know the ones to like fix immediately. And then the technical skills you need the networking fundamentals. Literally, in all the cybersecurity skills, you need to have like networking fundamental skills. You need your operating system skills, that is, you need to know how to use Linux and Windows. You need to know the different web technologies, HTTP, APIs. Uh, you need to know how to code too. I mean, sometimes it's not compulsory, but trust me, if you know how to code, you have like an edge over a pen tester that doesn't know how to code. Because for you to understand systems, read the source code, whatever, you need to literally know how it works. And for you to know how it works, you need to know how to write it or how to read it. So you need to know how to code literally. Then, lastly, understand how systems are built. So that's that for a penetration test. And then there are like different certifications to obtain as a pen tester, depending on your level. There's EJPC, that one is for beginners. There's CEH, there's OSCP. So as you learn and you grow, you can write these certifications. But then again, another thing with certifications, right? If you don't have money, if you cannot afford to write these certifications, it's not compulsory. The most important thing is when you walk into a room and you say, I'm a pen tester, can you defend it? Sometimes you don't even need that certification to defend because most people write certifications just to add to their CV. They don't really understand what's going on. They just want to pass it. Let's see that, oh, I have this certification, or I have 10 certifications in my portfolio. I have yada yada yada. But then do you know how to prove it? So focus on learning the skill, and then if you can afford to, the certificate is like an added advantage. So that's for the penetration testing career paths. Josh, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I've said it all. I don't think there's anything I can add again. I've said it all.
Do we have any question?
I don't think we do.
Um, I have a question for,
Okay, Franklin, you can speak.
yeah, that threat intelligence expert. I don't know. I want to ask, is do they need permission, to like to make their, how would I
To do
say
what
this,
they need to do. So
investigation? Yeah,
again,
to
your
do
threat
what they need to
intelligence
do.
expert. Okay, again,
Because you said something like, okay,
your threat intelligence expert is not hacking into anything, is not breaking into any system, is not hacking into any application, is not
yeah,
intruding on any network. Again, let's look at it.
but if
What
you
did they
if
do?
you
They
if
analyze attacker tactics. First is just to sit back
okay,
and look at what an attacker can do. What are the tactics? What are the techniques? What ways is he going to perform his attack? The threat intelligence expert now goes on to create a report that he submits to either the SOC analyst or the digital forensics and tells them that okay, this is the new uh, this is the new this threat group, this is their new technique in town. This is how they will go about their attack. Please look closely at our network, look closely
okay,
at systems onboarded our network, look closely at our applications, pen testers or the application and security database team, look at our applications, ensure that so and so vulnerabilities are not found within our applications. So these are the things they act like as an advisory role via this report. They give out recommendations on how to prevent some of these attacks from happening. You get?
yeah, thank you.
So your threat intelligence expert is not breaking into anything. He's not even a hacker. Although
Okay,
you can veer off into that career, into that field, but he's not breaking into anything. He's not his own is just to sit down, research on the new methods of how some
okay.
of
I
these
want to
threats
understand the new method is researching on now. On whose order does it do the does is it just like a free research he
are.
does, or if I'm a threat intelligence
Again,
expert now and I
again, as
find
I
out
said earlier,
threats
some of these guys
on,
belong to forums. Some of them belong to
okay,
groups. So they come on those forums and oh, they try to share information. Oh, this is what is happening now. This is the type of attack that is happening now. Maybe somebody picks up on that information and goes further and to say, oh, this is how they'll go about this attack. Make sure you tell your clients or so and so the organizations that you work for, you give consultancy services to ensure that this is not found in their application because this is how these attacks are going to be happening. So some of them belong to to these forums. Some of them go as far as being on the dark web, and the dark web, everybody is faceless.
yeah,
Everybody does not know who is who. So they go as far as searching for this information on the dark web, right? They get
okay,
some of this information and they come to us back in the digital world and share some of this information to whoever they deem fit. They have even websites or threat intelligence websites that share some of these reports on either a weekly basis or a daily basis or a yearly basis, whatever you deem fit. So this is how they work.
okay, thank you. So
So
I want
I
to
think
understand. So it's not
I
ethical
think
to observe threats and like negotiate with organization on maybe solutions or software to
It's
use
not
to.
ethical to do what? I don't understand. Come again.
Is it ethical to negotiate on malicious threats concerning
Fine.
with that? Hmm? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go on.
Yeah, is it ethical to observe a threat and try to negotiate with maybe with an application developer or an organization about the threat?
How do I go about answering this question? Nene, please can you help me? Because I don't know. This is more like an individual kind of question now because it's not based on the person. You can
Okay.
do it as a service. Some people have threat intelligence as a service, right? Where they just
Okay.
go and get some of this information and tell some of these organizations. I think there are some organizations that their own is just purely threat intelligence. They go and source information and they'll provide ways and tell you on how to prevent some of these attacks. Some of them go as far as even saying that, oh, so and so information is on the dark web. try as much as
Okay.
possible to ensure that there are proper guards or proper protection to some of the information that you hold within your organization. So all these things, well, you can do it as a service, but again, it's left to you. There are threat
Okay.
intelligence platforms that are paid for, just so you know.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Thanks.
No problem. Nene, please.
Oh, sorry, please.
Okay, I think you take this one, but I think I understand
Okay,
his
so I
question
am. I
to
am. So this
an
is
extent.
one. This is also a niche career, cyber security career path. As the names, okay, cyber needs. I'll address your question after I go through this. We have about 30 minutes
Okay.
to the end of this class. So your I am specialist. Also, some people who have worked in information security engineering, some of them tend to specialize as I am specialists. They tend to specialize in I am as an I am specialist. And there are solutions that there are I am solutions in the market. So some of these solutions they take I know these IAM solutions, they take decades to, there are some organizations that have been trying to implement them. There are organizations that have been trying to implement IAM solutions. So basically, user identity management, advanced authentication, critical role, and their key certifications. For user identity management, IAM, identity and access management, they are like the gatekeepers, right? They give access to who is supposed to access certain resources within the IT infrastructure. So they manage user identities, authentication, and access permissions securely across all systems. If a new user is coming onto a to an organization, these are the people that are also engaged in the part of the onboarding of the user. They try to give him certain permissions to certain applications within his rights. They try to give him they try to create his identity on the IAM solution, because the IAM solution, right, it speaks every part of the IT infrastructure, all the applications within the organization, they speak to this IAM. So for example, if a new user is coming into the organization and you onboard him on the IAM solution, from there, the IAM engineer will be able to say, oh, these applications, so and so application is what this user is supposed to have access to based on his level and based on the department he is working in, right? So in terms of authentication, in terms of access permissions, they are the ones mainly in charge. Advanced authentication, okay, so they implement passwordless login, MFAs, and ensure there's zero trust models for enhanced security. And they play a very critical role as user accounts remain top attack targets, safeguarding organizational assets. So also, if a user is leaving the organization, these IAM engineers are the ones that ensure that these guys' accounts are deleted from the system, so that when they even go to their new organizations or when they are working from their new organizations, they don't have access to the previous organization's assets. They don't have their usernames and passwords can no longer work again. So these are what IAM specialists normally do. In charge of onboarding, in charge of deboarding, deleting users away from the solution so that they can have access to resources within the organization. Key certifications. So there are some of the key certifications are certified identity and access management, and you can also have a CISSP to boost your credentials. Mostly everyone that is a cybersecurity specialist tend to go for the CISSP certification. So who is this person that was asking a question? Someone wanted to ask a question. Cybernet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So my question is just that, let's say, for example, now, let's say I'm a penetration tester, right?
Hello. You said
And then
what?
let's just say now I'm a penetration tester, all right?
Okay.
And then I just go about pick one of these company sites. I decided to scan their network, scan their database, and then I'm able to break in successfully into a vulnerability, right? That let's say there's a loophole. So then I decide to write to them, telling them, okay, I discovered this flaws on your system, and then I offer to help them fix it. Is that ethical?
Again, do you so okay? Do you know the difference between a black hat hacker, a white hat hacker, and a grey hat hacker?
Right.
Go and research about that. Nene,
Yes.
please go on.
Okay, so to
Okay.
answer your question, right? Uh, you can test an organization network or system or application without reaching out to them. So there's something called bug bounty program, right? So with bug bounty program, they have their scope. It's their okay. Basically, bug bounty programs are open to everybody that cares to hack or to test their system, application, whatever. But before you start testing, there's a scope. I remember I explained what a scope is. It's something that like explains what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, and what success looks like, right? So instead of let's say you're trying to get instead of getting a job and having like getting permission to test these applications, you can literally go to bug bounty platforms. There is HackerOne, there's Integrity. Just look for programs there. It's open to everybody. You have an open permission. You don't have to specifically write to get a permission. So when you test and you find vulnerabilities that have like high impact, then you can write to them, suggest remediation. And if this vulnerability has not been reported by any other person and they triage you, you'll be paid for it. I don't know if that answers your question, Cybernet. You asking if you need
Yeah.
permission to. Does it answer your question?
No, I was only asking if I follow that approach, that am I being ethical in my approach
Okay, if
or
you
is
test it without
unethical?
their permission,
Yeah. And
yes,
then
you're
I write
being
to
you're
them.
being ethical. So long as it's in bug bounty programming, you're doing it ethically. I don't know if you understand. Do you
Okay.
understand right now?
Yes, I get that.
Because you have open permission, yes. So for okay, the difference between a black hat hacker, a gray hat hacker, and a white hat hacker, I'll just explain black and white. So black hat hackers are the normal hackers people know about, the bad guys. So they test like every other hacker, right? Any other pen tester. But their own motive for finding vulnerability is to use it for malicious reasons, either to expose the organization or to use the data found to carry out other threats, maybe social engineering or whatnot. But a white hat hacker, whichever vulnerability they find and they report it to the organization, they are doing it ethically. I think I understand your question and I think I've answered it. So when you find these vulnerabilities and write a report to these organizations with a fix, a remediation, yes, you are operating ethically. And that was why I also brought up this bug bounty program because it has like an open permission for everybody to come and test the systems, test their network, test their applications. So you have an open this thing. And then whatever vulnerability you find, you're not using it for any malicious reason. You found it and you're secretly writing your report and submitting it to them for them to fix it without sharing it to any other person. Remember, you're not supposed to share to a second eye. Do you understand? Until it has been fixed. Do you understand the explanation,
Yeah,
Sebanit?
thank you. I get that.
All
Yes,
right, thank
thank
you.
you. So,
You're welcome.
And I really like to do this.
Sorry, what did you say?
So I really like to take this slide
No,
or
take I'll add to it. Take
okay,
I'll add to it.
I'll
Someone
go
is
ahead.
asking bug what platform? Bug
Okay.
bounty. Bug
Bug bounty
bounty.
program or bug bounty
Yeah.
platform. Mm.
Platform, yeah, and there are different platforms. There is HackerOne, there's
Okay, well,
Integrity, Bug Bounty, yes. So the bug is the vulnerability you're finding. The bounty is the money you'll be paid
bounty is the
for
money that you can
successfully
get paid for.
finding.
Okay,
Yes, for
so
successfully finding the bugs here.
cybersecurity researcher, these are innovators and future defenders. Again, the key word here is researcher, cybersecurity researcher. They have a wide scope of work, right? So theirs is to push the boundaries of knowledge, developing new defenses against evolving threats. So theirs is just to offer advice in certain cybersecurity areas. You see all these cybersecurity solutions that are being pushed out daily, right? We have people that are at the back end tend to go out for research. They tend to look at, oh, these are the new attacks that are happening within this industry. What are the ways that what solutions can we do use, or what ways can we ensure that these attacks don't happen? They go, they do their own research. Maybe they work for organizations. They come back to these organizations and says, oh, in this our security solution, I think we need to add this extra feature. This extra feature will address so and so attack that has been happening of late, right? So this is what they just normally do. Their own is just to improve on already existing knowledge. They have a wide scope of work, so they tend to read a lot and they tend to go out for very extensive research. They go for extensive research. So they are very, very useful and in terms of what they do. So you can see here we have emerging threats. They study and analyze new and emerging threats in terms of vulnerability and attack vectors, right? They also are involved in defense innovation. They develop innovative defense techniques and cutting edge tools to protect digital assets. I think I mentioned that earlier, right? The key skills, they require strong programming, analytical skills, and an insatiable curiosity for problem solving. So they have specialized fields often involved in AI security, advanced cryptography, and vulnerability discovery. So cybersecurity research. So they also roll out papers, STEM papers. The way we have researchers in the academic sense, we also have researchers in the cybersecurity field. So that's basically what they do. So that one is not just looking at, there's a difference between them and the threat intelligence experts. So you know that there's a very huge difference between both, right? I hope we don't mix them up. There's a huge difference between cybersecurity researcher and the threat intelligence experts. So please let's note that also. So these are some of the career roles that we have spoken about. So these are other cybersecurity career paths that we should be aware of. Some of these are not also common, but we should know that they exist. We have AI security specialists. With the advent of this AI crave within the last 2 to 3 years, some people are already mastering how they can become security specialists within the AI space. We have Internet of Things security analyst. I think I mentioned that briefly earlier. IoT, your IoT devices, some of them are very prone to attacks, right? So we have people that want to specialize in being security analysts in that area of IoT. We have your data protection slash privacy officer. We have your security awareness trainer. So there are people that basically their own work is just to go out and provide information security awareness to organizations, to people across different fields, especially people that are not too IT savvy or information security savvy. We just have people that go around and tell them, oh, you must have strong password. Oh, you must have so and so in your organization. Oh, this is how to recognize a phishing email or a phishing link. Oh, this is how not to fall for a social engineering attack. So these are the works of those guys. Their own is just mainly awareness, right? Then we have the DevSecOps, right? These are the people that are involved in coding, right? They are involved in secure coding. So DevOps, we are all familiar with DevOps, but these people now introduce security in DevOps. So this is what DevSecOps is all about. We have also our risk managers. There are some people that their own is just to they are being employed to just manage risk within organizations. This is like a sub career under the GRC career field, right? So we have our risk manager. There are also other careers, right, that were not mentioned here. For example, we have people that are vulnerability managers. We have people that are malware analysts. We have a lot of careers, right? I also mentioned earlier we have people that are um, IT governance officers. We have people that are privacy officers. So all these, there are a lot of careers or career paths. So we just tend to focus on the ones that are like mainstream, especially within this context of Nigeria. So any questions, please? Any observation, any additions, any subtractions? I think we have about some few minutes before the end of this class.
Everybody. I have a question.
Sorry?
But I have a question.
Okay, please go on.
Okay, so you mentioned different career paths, and I was thinking about GRC before, but considering the fact that I am passionate about AI, so I was I'm thinking of a field that does not require coding, but have to do with
I
AI
can't hear you. You
security.
think to be breaking.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but your voice is muffled.
Is it better now?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay, so I said I'm considering GRC as a career path, but because of my passion for AI security, I want to ask a question. Is it
Oh,
possible to get a career path that is linked with AI security but does not require much coding?
I only heard, is it possible to get a career path with AI security? I didn't hear the
So
preceding.
this is
That
her
does not require
question. Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so she said after the explanation of the different cybersecurity
Okay.
career paths that she's more interested in GRC, but right now she's currently working with AI security. Joy, that's what you said, right? So she's
yes.
currently looking for any career path
Okay,
that
so let
she
me answer
can
that.
do with
Even
that
with
AI security that does not include coding.
okay,
Yeah.
so in as much as you are working with GRC, yesterday on the call, right? We also um I also part of the content of what was taught yesterday was the artificial intelligence management system. So as a GRC analyst, right, that is one of the new management systems that you should take note of. Already, NIST has already released their NIST AI risk management framework. So those are the frameworks that you should know about as a GRC analyst. And already you say you are working with AI tools already, or you are working around AI security, um, you are working around that AI security specialist role, right? So GRC does not actually limit you from not partaking in whatever field of AI. In fact, as I said earlier, there's an artificial intelligence management system that you must know as a GRC analyst. The NIST AI risk management framework is also there for you to know about. So all these frameworks are frameworks that you should be knowledgeable about. So it doesn't you being a GRC analyst does not stop you from having your own knowledge on AI or stop you from becoming an AI security analyst, so to say. So GRC also touches on areas around AI. So you can start with these frameworks as a GRC analyst, your ISO 42001 and your NIST AI framework, risk management framework. Are we okay? Hello?
Yeah, she
I
already
can't seem to
replied
hear
you
her
on the
again.
chat. She said thank you. She replied on
Okay.
the chat.
Is the assignment you said I didn't get it clear. It's SOC 3 or something. We should.
Okay. Okay. Will I even give it as an assignment? Okay. Let's just give it as an assignment. Part of what? Okay. Nene will first give. Nene, please go on with the assignments that we talked about earlier.
Oh, okay, all right. So based off everything,
I'll still come with
am
the SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3 assignments. Let's focus on the major one now.
okay? So based off everything that we've learned today, I want us to go back. I think we have till next week or till Friday to have another class. So we have like almost the entire week to ourselves to reflect, go through what we've learned today, and if possible, try out courses on these different career paths to know the one that most interests you. So the assignment now is that you're going to write down the career path that you've chosen, why you think this career path fits you personally, not based off, oh, Josh is a pen tester or Vivian is a SOC analyst. No, you have to check the one that fits you personally and write why it fits you personally. So, okay, let me dictate the assignment before I explain. The first one, I don't know, someone should take it down, please. You're to write your chosen career path. Is everybody writing it down? Is anyone writing it down? Or someone should just help me write it down
Yes,
in the
yes.
chat box. All right, thank you so much. So write out your chosen career path. Second, write why it fits your personality, not based off trends. Why it fits your personality, comma, not based off strengths. Then the third one is, what is one skill you must develop in that career path? You can make it more than one. Or what are the skills? Let's leave it at what are the skills you must develop in that career path? Am I too fast? Mm, Who are those writing it down? Am I too fast? Are you catching up?
No, you're not too fast. That's everything.
Alright, thank you. So the next one is, what is one real world problem this role solves? What is one real world problem this role solves? If we are done, the last one is, create a roadmap, a 3 months or a 90-day beginner roadmap for that career path. Create a 90-day beginner roadmap for any career path you choose. We want to see it in your assignment. Josh, you can take over with the SOC. Josh, okay, I think you're busy.
Nene, can you hear me?
So, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I can hear you, Vivian.
Please,
Okay, Josh is back.
kindly send the assignment so that I can forward it to the group chat.
Okay, I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay,
Josh,
so
if you're
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
okay,
here now. I was speaking. I didn't know I was muted. So
no
for
problem.
your assignment, right? Just find out what a SOC level 1 analyst, SOC level 2 analyst does, and what a SOC level 3 analyst does. SOC level 1 analyst, I have already given part of the answers during my explanation. So the level 1 and level 2 should not be hard to get. So find out what a SOC level 1 analyst, SOC level 2 analyst, and SOC level 3 analyst does.
I think you also asked them to check the difference between white, gray, and black hat hacker.
Okay. I think you already touched base on that. So, okay, so we can add that one also. So also get to know go and research about the difference between a white hat hacker, a gray hat hacker, and a
Black,
and a black
black,
hat hacker.
black hat hacker. Yeah.
Then on the side, go and research about threat actor groups or threat groups or what would I call it? No, let's leave that for now. I think that is fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So they will not be overwhelmed. I think that's all. Then another thing I wanted to highlight is that if you have access to Try Hack Me, you can. I'll communicate with Vivian to tell you the particular
You should all,
path to.
sorry, you should all register for a Try Acme account. Sign up with Try Acme.
Yes,
Or everybody is
because
a
you'll be able to. Yes, yes, yes. You'll be able to see the different career paths and actually get hands-on experience with them or get extensive knowledge apart from what we have said in this class so that it also guide you on the assignment to choose the particular career path that you're more interested in. Try hack me. Try it's together. Try hack me. Try hack me. Favor. Try hack me. Can someone type it for her? Try hack me. It's together. It's together. Okay, Vivian will send the link. But if you just go to your browser, yes, Chidera, thank you so much. If you go to your browser and type, okay, let me find it and send the link here. Tryhackme.com. I sent the link to the chat box. Tryhackme. Mm-mm-mm. So go and create an account. I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for today's class. Josh, you can take over. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you to everyone that attended. Thank you for the questions. If you have more questions, you can reach out to us on the group chat and I'll answer there.
Okay, so I'll be expecting your assignments from yesterday. I'll be expecting your responses. I think there's a deadline to submission um, for everyone. So
yeah.
please,
You think you have access to it.
yes.
So just go through it, go through the sheet, you see their assignments.
Okay, someone asked,
Okay, thank
Cybernet was
you.
asking about Hack the Box. Before we end the class, sorry. Yes, Hack the Box is the sister to Tryhackme. You can also use Hack the Box. I think that's all.
That'll be all from my end. Thank you everyone for joining the call.
Thank you, Wally. Thank you, Sisi Nene. And thank you everyone for joining this call. Since we
Thank
don't have any
you.
since we don't have anything from our end, the meeting has come to an end. So sure, we can all leave the session. Thank you.